Looks like we found some live ones. Barely. Here's the beacon we were picking up. Who gave you this? We'll take them with us. Let's move. I smell a storm coming.
Hi, my name's Ivan, and I'm here to talk to you about Jak 3. And let me tell you, it's quite a bit of fun. Definitely deserving of a purchase, and the really high 9.6 score we gave it. Jak 3 is the final game in the Jak and Daxter trilogy, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there won't be more games in the Jak and Daxter universe that even feature and focus on the same characters. After you complete Jak 3, you'll understand how this is possible, but I can't really get into that because the game has a lot of twists in terms of storyline. What it does do is wrap up a lot of the loose ends from Jak 2 and Jak 1, and it makes the world and the characters climax. It concludes in like a very fantastic way. It has an actual honest-to-goodness ending that's very well thought out. It's it's incredibly funny. It's very satisfying. So the entire gameplay experience culminates in this really great segment. Unfortunately, the gameplay experience itself is somewhat shorter than the previous games. It's take you about 10 hours, maybe 15 if you take things slow and you go through all the side quests. Now, even though 10 hours doesn't seem like a whole lot, it's paced so much better than Jak 2 that there isn't a single moment where you won't be having fun. The first half of the game completely does away with Haven City. Jak finds himself stranded in the desert, and he has to do a bunch of missions for these Outlanders, these Wastelanders, that need him to prove himself before they can allow him into their little inner circle. And these involve a lot of car racing, a lot of platforming elements, on-rail shooting, stuff that's like tobogganing, a lot of advanced hoverboard platforming, just a huge variety of missions that are strung back to back to back to back to back and never really lets up. And the great thing is that when you're moving from one mission to the next, it takes just a couple of seconds. You know, it's really not like Jak 2 where you constantly had to ride that bloody, stupid hoverboard around the entire city and you were zigzagging everywhere. That never really happens. And if you do have to go a very far distance to reach a new mission, the game usually strings littler missions between there. These missions and this lack of random world traversal make the game feel really cohesive. Of course, you have a million little sellers. You have a lot of gameplay variety, like we were talking about. What's really astonishing about Jak 3 is that each of these individual components of the gameplay are pretty exciting. The hoverboarding is more developed than it was in Jak 2. It's a lot easier to come to grips with. The platforming elements revolving around it seem balanced a little better. The on-rail shooting components are more exciting. The actual platforming is more engaging. The addition of light powers that gives Jak an ability for short-term flight. They make the game really much bigger than it was before, even if the actual experience is somewhat shorter. And this is probably the oddest part about Jak 3. You want to play through beginning to end. Now, there are a lot of AAA fantastic titles that are like this, but in Jak 3, playing through beginning to end actually involves dying a lot because it's a pretty challenging game. It's not nearly as frustratingly difficult as Jak 2 was, but it's so challenging that I'd say roughly 75–80% of all of the missions that you undertake, you're probably going to die or fail the first time through. Now, in typical Jak fashion, right when you do die or fail, you reload instantaneously. In fact, there's virtually no loading in the game whatsoever. Even if you keep dying over and over and over again, you'll still have fun. I pretty much guarantee it, because I'm a real hateful kind of guy, and I get mad at games so easily that I've broken more controllers than I've drank a glass of water in my life. When I play Jak 3 and I keep falling off the pit and I keep dying in the car and I keep getting shot by some bloody metalhead that's hiding in the corner, I never think, oh, this game sucks. I never think the computer's cheating me. I never think my controls aren't developed enough to allow me to win. The only thing I am thinking is that everything's so responsive that the only way I'm actually losing is because I'm simply not good enough to defeat this challenge. As I mentioned in my review, it's a little tough to admit this just off the bat, you know what, I suck at a game. But it's not really like that. It's that the game gets harder and harder so that when you do lose, you feel compelled to jump back in there and beat it because you know you can, because you know the game's not inhibiting you. And so when you do beat it, you get this great sense of accomplishment, like you've actually completed a very challenging task and you're ready for the next one, you're ready to jump into it. Front to back, that's what Jak 3 is all about. There's not much more you can want in a game, save for some multiplayer, but you know what? Who cares? That's what Ratchet's for. If you want a terrific action platformer with a fantastic story and, in my opinion, the best graphics on PS2 and some of the best graphics on any system, you definitely want to buy Jack 3. I would pick it up again if I didn't already get my copy for free.